Hi, I'm Felipe Cortez, Bending Tone. Today's episode features Harley Flanagan of the Cro-Mags and a little bit of pit cam footage. Check it out.
I got jumped. I was being charged with 4 felonies. Stabbing 2 people, biting 1 person in the face, another person in the arm. You do what you gotta do, people. This shit was insane, but looking back, maybe what's insane is that nothing had ever happened like this before. I don't need to read any more from the book because I was there. I haven't actually read the book since I wrote it. And for those of you who've read it, you probably say, man, how the fuck is this guy alive? And to be honest, I really don't know. And thank you. Now, I'm sure everybody here has had close encounters with death. Close encounters and not just close encounters, but experiences with madness and crazy people. I'm sure everybody here knows a few crazy people. I happen to know many. Anyway, so yeah, that's how the book started. It was a rough night for me. I'll tell you a little bit about it. Now, everybody, I was all over the news at the time. I'm sure some of you recall. A lot of you probably don't even know the story about it. But what happened was my old band, there was actually only a couple members of the band, were playing in New York. And some of you may or may not know that, there's been, some could say, a little bit of bad blood, just a little bit, between some of the members. This is a typical rock and roll scenario, bands start to hate each other and so on and so forth. Nobody knows how to act. That's why we're musicians, because we're unable to grow up. We're like kids and we like to play and we like to have fun. So anyway, I went to go see my old band play. Now, naive and stupid as I can see it was now, looking back, I actually had this idea that if I actually saw my friend if I actually saw him and looked him in his face, that we'd be able to laugh at each other and just say, "You asshole," and maybe even give each other a big hug and say, "Man, fuck you." And then hopefully I was hoping that he might even be like, "You want to come up and play a couple songs, And well, obviously it didn't work out that way. And I'll be honest with all of you, even with all the bad blood and all the beef and everything, nothing would have made me happier than for us to be able to bury the hatchet. I know there's a lot of people that we meant a lot to, and I feel incredibly honored by that. It doesn't give me some false sense of self-importance. I feel humbled that my music played such an integral part in so many people's lives. And I felt that even with all the static and the ego and everything that had gone on in the band, I felt that even though I think they're a bunch of assholes, I still have love for those guys. That's what it's like when you know somebody for your whole life. You know they're an asshole and you love them anyway, you know? And I felt like, you know, for the fans, this would be such an incredible thing, especially with the state of hardcore, the way it has become since the late 80s on till now, where everybody has this fake tough guy attitude. Everybody feels like they need to act like they're ready to fuck people up. And I was just like, you know, it would be such a it would prove something so wonderful if we could actually show people that this whole PMA thing is more than just 3 letters that have no meaning. You know, if us old guys could actually say, you know what, we had beef for all these years, let's fucking go out there and play and have a great time and show all these people that all that negativity really doesn't stack up to shit compared to the good times. And I had a lot of good times with those guys. You know, I have no problem saying that. I could say that to John's face, I could say it to Doug, I could say it to all of them that, man, I love you guys, you know, I still do. But there comes a point when there's really no turning back, and it's sad. And I really tried everything I could. So I went to that show, like I said, with the hopes that John would give me some sort of positive response. And what happened was, well, first of all, everybody wants to know about, you know, the knife, the stabbing, the this and that. Yeah, sure, there was knives, there was stabbings, it was a fucking fight, all right? Shit happens, right? I went to the show, I got in, I went through the metal detectors and all that shit, and I went upstairs. There's a big old, you know, it's at the Ritz, and I used to sell this place out, so, you know, I got a little moment of like nostalgia, and I'm like, wow, kind of cool, you know? I looked at the mosh pit, I'm like, yeah, this reminds me of the old days, it's kind of cool. And I went upstairs, and I seen John's nephew, Frankie, this big fucking oaf. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm like, you know. And then he says, what's up? He shakes my hand, and he goes and tells the bouncer something, and the bouncer comes up to me, and he's like, yo, good. He starts saying some shit to me, but I can't hear it because the music's loud, and I'm fucking half deaf. I'm like, you know, I've been in front of amplifiers my whole life. I can't hear what the fuck he's saying. He's like, I'm like, what? He's like, I thought he was telling me to empty my bag, so I started emptying my bag, and he's like, no, take your bag and go. I'm like, really? Fucking Frank Jr.'s fucking punk asses having me removed from my band's show. I remember when this kid was in his fucking diapers. You gotta be joking, right? I'm like laughing. I'm like, boy, motherfuckers grow up and they think they're big shit, you know? So I'm like packing my bag, and then the bouncer comes back up to me and says, no, it's cool. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? All right. Then this cat comes up to me, Rat Bones, fucking crackhead. I don't know how many of you know him. I used to always get along with him, but check this shit out. This is a guy that everybody used to treat like an asshole, and I always used to cut him some slack, because I was like, hey man, you know, he's alright, he got a drug problem, he's an alright guy, yeah, he'll rip you off if you give him the chance, but he's not a bad guy, he's just fucking got problems, you know? I used to cut him some slack. So anyway, Crack Bones fucking comes up to me, and he's like, yo, what, man? He comes over, gives me a hug, gives me a kiss on my cheek. I always had love for you, bro. I'm like, yeah, I always had love for you too, Rat. All right. You know, I'm like, yeah, you and everybody else. Because I don't know, this is when everybody was talking shit about me in New York because of fucking John and all this bullshit. Anyway, so Crack Bones fucks off, right? And then this dude, I don't know if you might know him, he played bass with some fucking band. This dude, they call him Mike the Gook. I always got along with him. Again, another dude that was always sucking my dick back in the day. Yo, what's up, Harley? Oh, this dude's always jocking. You know, so he comes up to me and he's like, yo, Harley. I'm like, what's up? He's like, give me a big man hug. Yo, we gotta squash this shit, man. I'm like, alright. It's like, let's go backstage and talk to John right now. So I'm like, alright, this is why I'm here. Now, I had a lot of other shit going on in my life at home and stuff. I'm not even gonna get into all that shit, but my spider senses weren't on. You know, I should have been like, you know, something's not right with this shit, man. These motherfuckers don't like me, and they're coming up and they're all like, oh, I always had love for you. You know, I'm like, something's not right. Now looking back, I know, yo, Harley, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? You was sleeping on this shit, man. What the fuck are you thinking? So anyway, Crack Bones and fucking Mike the Gook fucking walked me to the dressing room, like, yo, let's go talk to John. I'm like, all right, bet. I walk in the dressing room, and out of the corner of my eye, kind of like I can see this mic stand over here out of the corner of my eye, but I can't really see the whole stand. I can just see this part of it. I see in this tattooed arm, pull the door shut, and then I got hit from over here. I got hit from over here, and it was like fucking, go ahead. No, the rain, motherfucking rain. It was like, fucking kick, shit, right? But the shit happened mad fast, so I fall forward, and I roll to my back, and I start throwing up kicks, because fucking, yo, man, I am my first motherfucking picnic, all right? So I roll to my back, I start throwing up kicks, and dudes start jumping on me. Now, I'm sure some of you have been in a couple violent situations. Not all of you, but I'm sure some of you have been in a few. And now you assess a lot of shit at once. Like, you could see targets all over the place. Like, I may not be able to count everybody in this room, but I can see where most motherfuckers are. You know? So if I had to, like, if I had a, you know, if I was taking people out, you know, you can sort of. So I'm looking around the room, and I can't see how many people are in the room, but I can count that there's somewhere between 5 to 7 guys around me. And they're all stomping and kicking on yours truly. All right? Now, I'm not a very big guy. You know? I'm fucking 50 years old, too. I was some cold-blooded shit. But the thing that's really cold-blooded is that John motherfucking orchestrated that shit. And it's like, yo, dude, man, we fucking were friends, man. Like, I was like, we were fucking tight, man. You know, we used to fucking live in a squat together, man. We used to steal food together, bro. Like, how the fuck did you do that shit to me, man? You know? It still blows my mind. Because, like, even on my worst day, you know, I'm not the kind of motherfucker that would ever set someone up, you know, to get attacked by other people. I think that's like the most cowardly bitch ass shit a motherfucker can do. Some people think it's gangster. I think it's some pussy shit. You know, go do this. Yo, fuck you, nigga. Do it yourself. You want to fuck this dude up? Look him in his eyes and bust his ass. And if you ain't got the balls to do that, then fucking let it go. Then it don't matter enough. If you're not willing to risk injury to yourself, then let it go. You know? I mean, shit. I'm 50 years old. I'll let that shit go in a second, man. I'll give John a fucking hug right now and say, damn, motherfucker, how'd you do that shit? Why'd you do that to me? Anyway, now what? You know? Now, we gonna fight? No. You know, either I'll fuck you up or no. Whatever. So anyway, so yeah, that's how that shit went down. So I got jumped. I got fucking dragged out. By the way, I didn't even know I got stabbed, right? I don't know if you can see this shit, but see when I move my leg, when I stand up, it's like a bump. I didn't even feel that shit. I don't know how many of you have been stabbed before, but you don't feel that shit. You just, all of a sudden, you just see a lot of, all of a sudden you're wet. You know, you're like, damn, oh, what the fuck is that? You know, your adrenaline's pumping. Everybody thought I had a broken leg because the fascia, the shit that wraps around the muscles was all hanging out. So it looked like I had a compound fracture, but in fact, it required like 40-something stitches. Like the doctor took his fingers and buried them shits in there. I'm like, ooh, wow, nice. You know, but I didn't want them to strap. You know, everybody saw that picture of me getting carried out in the chair. I didn't want them to. I was like, fuck this. I'm walking down, man. Fuck these motherfuckers. And they're like, no, we're gonna sit you. I'm like, fuck all these motherfuckers. Yo, yeah, no, dude, you don't even understand. I was on fire. I mean, you know, they're fucking, yeah, you know. I mean, here, put this on the stand, brother, man. I mean, I'm fucking getting put into the ambulance. I'm reaching around like this, fucking giving everybody, fuck all y'all motherfuckers. What? Fuck you, bitch. How's your face? Yeah, because I bit this, yo. I don't even know. I think it was rat bones. It might have been. Because I don't even know who I bit in the face, but I bit one dude in the face. I took a chunk like the size of an apple. Wow. Right here. All right. Then the motherfucker that reached and grabbed my arm, I bit into that shit, but I was like, you know how, you know, I'm sure some of you have been bit before. And like, you know, it just leaves like teeth marks. It doesn't really like tear stuff. So I'm like, fuck that. You know, I'm like trying to tear the vein. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I want to fucking open this motherfucker's arm. I want to see like, you know, like I was really looking for an artery. I was like, I'm gonna fucking tear your artery open, motherfucker. Like, you know? So, now, I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, where'd the knife come from? Well, I did have one, okay? I don't know what the fuck I got stabbed with. Somebody else had one too. I know John said that he was armed with a pipe when he was exiting via the back stairs. Damn, so then he in a different news story, he tried to claim he didn't know what was happening. And in one news story, he said, I knew he was coming and I armed myself with a pipe. And fucking victims, and I'm the one who's in here getting charged. All I did was go back there and see this motherfucker John Bloodclot. I know, it's stunning. I think it's funny. Y'all are like, damn. I'm like, I mean, the shit, looking back, it's fucking funny shit, the whole shit. I mean, look, you know, I can laugh about it now because, you know, at my age, you don't get to get into too many bar fights. The shit was fun, you know, except for all the shit that happened, all the ripple effect shit, like going in court, having fucking reporters at my family's house, fucking with my kids, you know, like, you know, all of a sudden you're on every newspaper and you're like, they're painting you out like you just smoked a bag of fucking dust and went on a stabbing spree. I'm like, what the fuck they talking about? You know? So anyway, I get to Rikers Island. I get to the Tombs and I get out of the fucking police car and it's fucking like 6 in the morning, man. The sun's just coming up and there's photographers waiting for me as I'm getting. That was the picture that you saw me walk into that was that morning, right? And I'm like, what am I, fucking John Gotti? They got fucking reporters for me at 6 in the morning? Are you joking? And then I go to the Tombs, I go through that whole bullshit, and then out to Rikers, and it's like half the fucking cops in there knew me, you know. As you know, some of them dudes from Queens now work in different like correctional shit and like at the courthouses, and they're like, oh yeah, I used to go see you guys play all the time as I'm standing there getting strip searched and shit. I'm like, all right, yeah, back in the day, yeah, cool. You know, make sure I get an extra cheese sandwich right there. You know, shit. And then every motherfucking inmate in there knew who I was too. You know? It's like I walk in there, everybody got silent, looks my way, because I didn't know I was on the news the night before. I was on Channel 2, Channel 5, I think I was on Channel 9, I was in fucking Cab TV. I had one of my co-workers at work riding home in a cab, like, sitting there drunk. I was just like, what the fuck? Turn this shit up. Oh, what the fuck is Harley doing in the mouth? So I stabbed him. Who? What? What? Fuck. You know, every Everybody was bugging. I had people in Europe calling my moms like, what the fuck? And I'm sitting in Rikers going, what the fuck? Reading this newspaper going, Daddy, what happened? I had this motherfucker, or Smoke. Yeah, Smoke was mopping the fucking floors, going up and down, right? And he goes, you Harvey, right? I'm like, Harley. He's like, yeah. I read about you. Yeah. They called you the white Mike Tyson on Channel 2. I was like, oh yeah? He's like, hold up, you eat anything? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Are you sure, man? Yeah, man, I don't really, so I don't really like taking favors from people I don't know, especially when I'm locked up. Like, I don't want to fucking, I don't want them coming back to me like, yo, you remember that chicken I gave you? I want something now. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. But anyway, Smoke wound up being all right. So that was the first time I actually ate meat in like fucking 20-something years. I ate chicken in Rikers Island. What the fuck was I gonna do, man? I don't even fucking starve. I was like, yo, I might get jumped tomorrow. I need some fucking nourishment. I might be fucking fighting for my ass soon, man. No fuck this. And then that motherfucker John was in the newspaper saying, yo, man, that dude Harley, man, yo, he's a skinhead, and he's a snitch. He's a racist, he don't like black people.
Man, I don't like black people, tell them motherfuckers.
I hate them motherfuckers, but I love them, Tom. Look, I'm reading this shit in the jail, I'm like, this motherfucker's trying to get me fucked up in Rikers now. He just got me jumped at a Cro-Mags dig. And now he's trying to get me fucked up in Rikers for being a skinhead and shit. Like, yo, nigga, I was a skinhead in 1980 some shit. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Trying to get me fucked up, like what the fuck, man? Yo, come on, man. What kind of bitch ass shit? Think about that next time you go to fucking throw your money down and see some fake fucking Cro-Mags show. This the motherfucker who set his boy up and then tried to get him fucked up in jail. What the fuck kind of man does some shit like that? I'll tell you right now, I didn't come out here to start talking shit about this motherfucker, but you know what? That's just wrong, man. There ain't no fucking nothing cool, acceptable, or even remotely fucking cool about that shit. Fucking fake ass Hare Krishna motherfucker. You're supposed to be all Hare Krishna the fuck out. You think he'd be like, yo, Harley, man, we should put all this bad karma behind us, man. Krishna would want us to inspire the people. But instead, this motherfucker's like, yo, man, fuck that motherfucker, I'm the Cro-Mags. I don't even need anybody in this band who actually wrote the songs. That motherfucker never wrote one song, man. Look, I ain't hating on him for fucking playing the songs, okay? Let me just get that shit straight. Look, I don't give a fuck. Anybody can play the songs. All I did was write them, okay? You guys can go fucking play them. Everyone here could go start a Cro-Mags cover band. I don't give a fuck. I got a problem with that. What I got a problem with is when motherfucker goes out and tours as the Cro-Mags. I'm like, nigga, you ain't the Cro-Mags. The Cro-Mags is a band. It's not one dude who didn't write any of the songs, who sometimes is joined by the drummer who didn't write any of the songs. That'd be like if Robert fucking Plant went out on tour by himself and called it Led Zeppelin. You'd be like, hold on. Now, if Robert Plant went out and fucking toured as Robert Plant and busted out like a whole lot of love and Stairway to Heaven, you'd be like, yeah, cool. But but if he came out and called himself Led Zeppelin, you feel like that's kind of corny. Like, what about Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, and at least Jason Bonham, I'm not hating on John for playing the songs, so everybody can get that shit, straight. There ain't no ego. Everybody's entitled to play music. Shit, I could go out tomorrow and fucking do a Foo Fighters song. It doesn't mean I'm the fucking Foo Fighters. So let's get that straight. There is no Cro-Mags, okay? The Cro-Mags was a bunch of dudes. It was a whole group of people, and I just happened to be the main songwriter. As anybody who's ever fucking played with me will testify. As anybody like Ditto, like any of these people like Cal, who I went to school with in 7th grade, who remembers me writing Cro-Mags on walls before I was even in a band with motherfucking Paris. or Mackie or anybody. I was writing that shit because that was my shit, you know? And like everybody fucking forgets, you know, because you got a lot of young ass motherfuckers now who never saw the band and they just see the logo on the poster and they're like, I'm gonna go see the Cro-Mags. I'm like, oh yeah. You know, but anyway, so yeah, that's how the book starts. I wound up in Rikers Island. I had to go to court, a lot of bullshit. Court lasted like 6 months. In that time, my family situation blew up. The mother of my kids turned out to be a total fucking bitch, and you know, I started going through family court and this and that, and you know, it was a really rough time for me. And if any of you read the book, you'll know that I have had a history of on again, off again, complete and total drug abuse beyond belief. And you know, like, you know, we're talking in my youth, you know, I mean, I was really bent, I was fucked up, you know, on years, you know, for years I was like, whether I was like, you know, living in San Francisco or shooting crystal meth or doing smack in New York and smoking dust or, you know, ice or whatever. You know, I had some moments, you know, but I got it back together, you know. I got my life together. I fucking got my black belt in Jujitsu. I got my shit together. I raised 2 beautiful fucking sons, you know. I pulled my shit together despite all that shit. And right then, when my life was falling apart in 2012, it was like getting hit by a fucking freight train of just like bad shit, man. And if there was ever a time I could have or would have or should have given up, I'll tell you that would have been the time. But now I know, you know, I know that I'm stronger than that. And that's, if anything, that's what I hope that other people can get out of this book, is that no matter what kind of shit comes at you, you do have the ability to rise up and rise to the occasion. And that's how you know who you really are, you know. Everybody's got struggles. Everybody has hard times in their life. As you'll see if you read my book, I had more than most. But there's always hope. And I never gave up. And got motherfuckers like Chris Cornell killing themselves. I'm like, yo, man. You know, I know some people got, you know, struggle with depression. Shit, I struggle with depression all the fucking time. But you know what? Life can be depressing. You get up off your ass and fucking do something. You know, life is a beautiful thing, man. Whether you're handling it well or not, life is a fucking gift. It's a beautiful thing. The shit is unbelievable, and you can't let it go by like without appreciating how amazing it is, and looking at your kids and appreciating your parents, even how fucked up they are. There's no such thing as a perfect parent, man. You know. But like, I lost my mom and I miss her so much. You know, you gotta enjoy the ride. And you gotta fight. You gotta fight to survive. You gotta fight for what you want. And you don't ever give up until you're fucking dead. And don't give up. When you feel at your weakest, that's when you gotta dig down and get the fuck up and fight that much harder. And you gotta learn how to love the fight. When shit is at its hardest, that's when you find out what you're made of. And anyway, I've talked plenty. I'd just like to give you guys an opportunity. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to tell you anything about the old days in the New York punk scene, the hardcore scene, or you know, about kicking someone's ass or whatever, you know, what's my favorite drug in my life or whatever, you know, who's the best, you know. So anyway, I don't know how to do this really because I'm not really I would like to give a shout out. First of all, this is a great store, man. I thank you for having me. I love this place. It's fucking very good. I've actually only done one other book thing. It was at a place in New York called Generation Records, and I'd like to say what's up, Mark. I know you're here someplace, and come on, make some noise back home for New York represent. Does anybody have any questions for me? I can try to answer. You want to raise your hands? I can't think of any unless you just want to yell them out.
What's your favorite source of vitamin D, man? You do a lot of like jujitsu. You train. You
know what?
You're a vegetarian.
Yes,
how you do that, man?
I am. I've been a vegetarian since like 1982, and I'm. You know what? I used to be like crazy militant about vegetarianism and this and that. And the truth is, I don't really give a fuck what anybody does, as long as they're good to the people around them and good to animals. You know, I believe that humans have the ability to eat to both styles. That's why we got teeth that could do both. I mean, it's part of evolution. We had to survive throughout the ages, and you know, some people are not able to be vegetarian. I mean, tell a fucking Eskimo he's supposed to be a vegetarian. You know, what the fuck? Where is he? What the fuck kind of vegetables? He's gonna look at you like, huh? You hand him a block of tofu, he's gonna be like. He's gonna like start naming different names for snow. And shit, you know? Don't they have like 10 million words for snow? But like, you know, so like I'm not on this like be a vegetarian or you're gonna suffer 1,000 deaths. You know, like, yo, shut the fuck up, man. You know, be good to your family, be good to other people, be good to animals. You know, if you gotta kill stuff to eat, then you should be willing to actually kill stuff to eat. Like you should maybe experience it and stuff, you know. I think that's a good way. As far as how do I get my vitamin D, pretty much, look, I'm not vegan. I like I said, I ate chicken when I was in Rikers. I have eaten fish a few times over the years when my body has told me like, yo, motherfucker, you need protein. But it only happens like maybe a couple of times, like a few times a year that I feel that need. And I don't believe like I'm gonna go and face like some like wrathful fish god if I eat a fish, you know. But if I had to eat, if I was in nature and I had to feed myself, I'd kill a fucking fish and eat it. It'd be a lot easier than I'm not gonna grow something if I'm starving. That takes time. You know, and I don't know what, you know, when I eat some bark, you know. No, but I'm a vegetarian by choice, and I consider it a real luxury. I am blessed that I live in a world and in a country where I can choose to be a vegetarian, you know? People who live here, fucking, they don't realize how spoiled they are, man. You know, like, if you travel a little bit, you get into other parts of the world where people are really fucking suffering, you stop being so fucking spoiled real quick. You know, try starving, man. That's just not fun. Anyway.
Hi, Harley. I have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right. Who under who?
Renato Magno. I think Renato came here with Renzo.
Yeah.
From Brazil.
Uh-huh.
The same plane.
Oh, really? I didn't know they were.
Yeah. So, you know, I saw Renzo when he was here a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you though. I think it was on the Blind Race for Revenge. It was one of the records. It might have been Harley's where you thank the Kung Fu Master in you know your notes. I wanted to ask you about some of your other martial arts.
Are you talking about Nelson?
No, was that him?
He's a Tiger Claw.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I want to ask about, have you trained in other martial arts? And
When
also,
I was, yes.
Also, how did you find Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Thank you for asking. Well, first of all, yes, I'm also a fellow black belt. I got my black belt under Renzo-Gracie. I started training with him in like January or February of '95. I was very lucky that he moved to New York. I was actually living in Sunland when I first discovered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What happened was, I'll shorten this story a little bit because unless you're a Jiu-Jitsu guy, you're gonna be like, oh. Okay. Well, so UFC 1 and 2.
Yeah.
All right. I went down to Blockbuster Videos. I think I was going to like rent like some old Ali shit or some Mike Tyson's Greatest Knockouts or some shit. And I seen the cover of this UFC thing and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, is this some WW some shit? Like, I'm like, how could this be real? See all these guys covered in blood and I'm like, this has got to be fake. And I'm like looking at the guys in gis and shit. I'm like, but this guy's wearing a gi. I mean, is this fake? Is this real? I'll get it. Put that shit on and I was like, whoa, damn, man, I wish they had this shit when I was young. I might not even got into playing music. You know, I'm like, what the fuck, man? So, and obviously the same thing that struck everybody was, who the fuck is this 170-pound Brazilian who's like submitting these like 220, 250 pound jacked up on steroids looking motherfuckers? Where's Gracie?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know, anyway, so yeah, they had another one. They had UFC 1 and UFC 2, so I rented the two of them, and I kept them shits for a week, and I'm watching these shits religiously. Now, also, this is the time when I was just starting to kick drugs. Like, I was just getting off heroin and off everything. That's a whole nother story in itself, but like, as I was in the process of getting off drugs, and like, it's funny if you've ever like weaned yourself off drugs, you know, you'll like do a little bit of this drug to like deal with not being on this drug, and you're just kind of like, you keep doing less, whatever. It was a whole process, painful process. But I also started jogging a lot. I started running, sweating, and I started out by doing like 3 miles, and I eventually worked myself up to 4 or 5 miles. Eventually I got up to like 13, 14 miles, but this isn't really, so I'm starting to run, and I'm watching UFC 1 and UFC 2, and I'm like, dude, this is a bad motherfucker here, man. I got this fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu shit, nasty. I've been in fucking hundreds of fights. I've punched a fucking lot of people, kicked a lot of people, I headbutted, elbowed, smashed people, hit them. I never saw an arm bar. What did he do? Like, yo, if I ever run into one of these Gracie motherfuckers, I'm gonna fucking learn this shit. And I made it a mission. And then soon after, I moved back to New York, and then just every day I would go through Kung Fu magazine and Black Belt magazine, and I'd just go into the magazine stores and pull every martial arts magazine off the rack, and I'd just keep looking. I'm like, one of these dudes gotta move to New York soon. They can't all fucking stay in California. You know, New York is like the center of the fucking universe. Come on, one of them's gotta fucking move here. And sure enough, hallelujah, Renzo-Gracie moved there, and he's really like, you know, as everybody involved in that world knows, he's really, in his own right, become kind of the patriarch of the family of his generation. I mean, he's the guy who represents, and even when he's lost fights, he's lost them with such dignity. I mean, it's like he got his arm broken and he never tapped. Like, he never tapped, he got his arm fucking completely broken, and he stood up and he shook the dude's hand, you know, and he was winning the fight on points. He's like, you know, anybody who fights a lot, you're gonna lose fights. There's no shame in losing a fight. It's how you come back. You know, a champion is not a true champion until they come back from defeat, you know. And Renzo's a bad motherfucker. And if you go back and watch any of his old fights, you'll see why I love that dude. He's like the funniest guy you'll ever meet. Fucking love him to death. And I really feel like he is one of the reasons I'm still alive, because when I was kicking drugs, I had Jiu-Jitsu to turn to, and a place to surround myself by positive people, people that were like pushing me to move forward in my life. And it was just such a fucking great environment. And then when I had my kids, they started training, and eventually, by the time I was a brown belt, I started helping out, teaching classes and like doing the warm-ups for the black belts. And then, yeah, you know, now I've been teaching at Renzo-Gracie Academy in New York City for about 7 years, you know, and I love it. There's no turning back, man. I suggest everybody out there try a class, go to your local Jiu-Jitsu Academy. You can talk to this gentleman, he'll point you. Okay, there you go. And it's really a life changer. I mean, it'll get you in the best shape you've ever been in. Right now, I'm a little underweight because I just got back from tour, but you know what? I'm 50 years old. I'm a vegetarian, and I feel good, man. Jiu-Jitsu keeps you fucking tight, you know. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for asking, brother. Yeah.
Best gig you've ever played?
Oh shit. Honestly, bro, you know, with the exception of like probably 2 or 3, every gig. You know, I love to play, man, and I love, you know, interacting with people on a positive level, you know. And it doesn't matter to me if there's, you know, 30, 40,000 people. I've played shows like that, or if there's 20 people. I really have a great time. And in fact, some of the best shows have been the ones in the sizes in clubs this big, you know, the size of this room with not much or less people. Like anybody who was ever at A7 will know exactly what I'm saying. I mean, some of the best times you ever had in your life were in a room this big with 20 of your friends in front of, you know, the circle jerks or the mob, you know, or the bad brains. Anybody else? Yes.
I had actually read that you said you know, after your whole brawl and fight happened, that you felt that quite of the dudes of the, you know, hardcore scene in New York had kind of turned their backs on you. Is there anybody who like you're still cool with? Like, just an example, like the dudes with that nuts in front, something like that.
Oh, I'm cool with Ditto. No, you know what? That's a hard question for me because I found out a lot of shit that I really didn't like finding out after that went down. Like when I was preparing my defense, for instance, my lawyers, my team of lawyers were interviewing a lot of different people that some of us here know. Some of us just know them by name. Some of us actually know them. And I think everybody who knows anything about hardcore knows that I was one of the people who fucking paved the fucking roads. You know, I cleared the road for all, not some, all of the New York hardcore bands. Every fucking one of them owes some respect, if not gratitude. Because out of all of them, I'm one of the only ones who was actually around back in the punk days.
I'm really sorry that all I have right now are more questions. Questions like, why did you treat Harley this way? What made you think that he needed to be treated this way? Or did they just send you over to treat him this way? Without a clear explanation from the Cro-Mags, it looks like so many cases in California and in New York where the law blames the victim. Harley had the most to lose. He named the band, wrote the songs, and let them tour without him. Yeah, he had a drug problem, but he cleaned up. He became a Jujitsu teacher and has probably a bunch of wonderful students. He grew, clearly grew. So he goes back to mend some wounds with the Cro-Mags and gets stabbed by them. It doesn't make any sense if you know the Cro-Mags. It doesn't make any sense if you know Flanagan. So with all that confusion, I mean, I can kind of relate to his forgiving ways. I totally respect his call for an anti-gang situation. You can't have gangsters ruining the pits. I get that. That's cool. I've always been against gangsters, really. I don't like thugs or bullies or any of that garbage. So I relate to him a lot right now. I like that about him a lot. And, you know, being able to just say, you know, and express his anger and the way he had to fight for his life and all that, I totally understand where he's coming from on that. And maybe you don't like his use of language, but you know what? In LA, when you've been at the losing end of a fight or at the winning end of a fight, you know, you get called nigger faggot one way or another. You know, a lot of us have been nigger faggots in LA. So I don't really have a problem with what he was saying at all. I've recognized that situation so many times. I've been on the misunderstood opposite end of that situation and been called that so many times. So, you know, whatever, dude. I'm glad he's alive to tell his side of the story. And what words he uses to describe that are really not up to me. It looks like he understood the dictionary definition based on his sentence structure. I think he knows what he's saying. And the reality is, you know, when someone like that can be clear about stuff, it's just like, you know, I'm going to step back and not be offended or shocked and just really look at what got said and either agree or disagree. So, you know, I don't want to agree or disagree. There's just a bunch of garbage that happened there. All I know is that for sure, you know, I wouldn't want to be treated that way. I'll be honest with you. I'm not that nice of a person, man. If I got stabbed like that, I don't know that I could be nice enough to, you know, to let it end the way he did right there if I've got the breath in me to defend myself. I got raised by foreigners, and a lot of my friends got raised by foreigners. So a lot of that zen, happy, California good vibes just went out the window real early. And, you know, as much as, you know, some of us would like to be a Catholic or Christian, we're just a little bit shy of all that niceness and goodness. I don't know that I would be that nice if I got stabbed. I don't think any one of my friends would lift an arm against me, but if it did happen, I don't know if I could be that nice. I mean, you know, I've gone through periods of not talking to friends for years over small stuff. I mean, over a fist fight, I didn't talk to a friend that was there at the show with me for a few years. Over a bad laugh or a misunderstood comment, I stopped talking to a whole other group of friends for a few years. I know what it's like to care about someone so much that you can't stand to hurt each other and can't stand to be hurt by them. I understand this. This is a weird kind of thing. And I understand what it's like to want to see them succeed. So I'm going to honor his requests. He wants the band to succeed. I'm going to honor that they do well. And I know that he wants to succeed. So I definitely want to be there to support him and say, let's watch some of the show because it's pretty cool, all right?
Walking alone in the cold dark night.
Cro-Mags and Harley's War, Mr. Gary Abura! Bad motherfucker. Behind me, this savage motherfucker beating these drums like he's trying to kill them shits. Gary G-Man Sullivan. Let's hear it for the Black Irish. To my right, we got Mr. Artie Alexander. Give it up. And if you came here tonight, I'm assuming you know who the fuck I am. Yo, I was down, but I was never out. Just remember that shit.
was a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. The pit was wild. The crowd was fantastic. Harley was super inspirational. I mean, it was an all-around great show. So thank you, Punk Rock Tours, for inviting. And I want to thank everyone who made this possible. And anybody that wants to contribute can make a donation or make a purchase. And I hope you're here with me for the next episode of Bending Tone. I'm Felipe Cortez.
Breakup stereo, high school punch, Broadway kill spin, oh! Meeting halfway,